Well, good morning and welcome to February the 13th. We continue to read through the Bible in a year. We read anywhere from 4 to 6 chapters a day, plus some articles that give us really good insight into our founding documents and our founding fathers. We are reading through the Bible with David Barton's Bible, the Founder's Bible, so it includes articles from founding fathers and about founding fathers and about our Constitution and all of those good things. So we're going to start out today in Psalms chapter number 44, then Leviticus chapters 5 and 6, Proverbs 13, then we have one article, the virtue of hard work. Amen. And so let's turn in our Bibles to the book of Psalms and chapter 44.
Psalm 44, to the chief musician, a contemplation of the sons of Korah.
We have heard with our ears, O God. Our fathers have told us the deeds you did in their days, in days of old. You drove out the nations with your hand, but them you planted. You afflicted the peoples and cast them out, for they did not gain possession of the land by their own sword, nor did their own arm save them. But it was your right hand, your arm, and the light of your countenance, because you favored them. You are my king, O God. Command victories for Jacob. Through you we will push down our enemies. Through your name we will trample those who rise up against us. For I will not trust in my bow, nor shall my sword save me. But you have saved us from our enemies, and have put to shame those who hated us. In God we boast all day long, and praise your name forever. But you have cast us off and put us to shame, and you do not go out with our armies. You make us turn back from the enemy, and those who hate us have taken spoil for themselves. You have given us up like sheep intended for food, and have scattered us among the nations. You sell your people for next to nothing, and are not enriched by selling them. You make us a reproach to our neighbors, a scorn and a derision to those all around us. You make us a byword among the nations, a shaking of the head among the peoples. My dishonor is continually before me, and the shame of my face has covered me, because of the voice of him who reproaches and reviles, because of the enemy and the avenger. All this has come upon us. But we have not forgotten you, nor have we dealt falsely with your covenant. Our heart has not turned back, nor have our steps departed from your way. But you have severely broken us in the place of jackals, and covered us with the shadow of death. If we had forgotten the name of our God, or stretched out our hands to a foreign god, would not God search this out? For he knows the secrets of the heart. Yet for your sake we are killed all day long. We are accounted as sheep for the slaughter. Awake! Why do you sleep, O Lord? Arise! Do not cast us off forever. Why do you hide your face and forget our affliction and our oppression? For our soul is bowed down to the dust. Our body clings to the ground. Arise for our help, and redeem us for your mercy's sake.
Psalms chapter 44. Amen. Now we're going to turn back in our Bibles to the book of Leviticus. And let's get there with our software. Amen. I really like this particular reading. Leviticus And today we will read chapters 5 and 6. Here is chapter 5.
If a person sins in hearing the utterance of an oath and is a witness, whether he has seen or known of the matter, if he does not tell it, he bears guilt. Or if a person touches any unclean thing, whether it is the carcass of an unclean beast, or the carcass of unclean livestock, or the carcass of unclean creeping things, and he is unaware of it, he also shall be unclean and guilty. Or if he touches human uncleanness, whatever uncleanness with which a man may be defiled, and he is unaware of it, when he realizes it, then he shall be guilty. Or if a person swears, speaking thoughtlessly with his lips, to do evil or to do good, whatever it is that a man may pronounce by an oath, and he is unaware of it, when he realizes it, then he shall be guilty in any of these matters. And it shall be, when he is guilty in any of these matters, that he shall confess that he has sinned in that thing. And he shall bring his trespass offering to the Lord for his sin which he has committed, a female from the flock, a lamb or a kid of the goats, as a sin offering. So the priest shall make atonement for him concerning his sin. If he is not able to bring a lamb, then he shall bring to the Lord for his trespass which he has committed 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, one as a sin offering and the other as a burnt offering. And he shall bring them to the priest, who shall offer that which is for the sin offering first, and wring off its head from its neck, but shall not divide it completely. Then he shall sprinkle some of the blood of the sin offering on the side of the altar, and the rest of the blood shall be drained out at the base of the altar. It is a sin offering. And he shall offer the second as a burnt offering, according to the prescribed manner. So the priest shall make atonement on his behalf for his sin which he has committed, and it shall be forgiven him. But if he is not able to bring 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, then he who sinned shall bring for his offering 1/10 of an ephah of fine flour as a sin offering. He shall put no oil on it, nor shall he put frankincense on it, for it is a sin offering. Then he shall bring it to the priest, and the priest shall take his handful of it as a memorial portion, and burn it on the altar according to the offerings made by fire to the Lord. It is a sin offering. The priest shall make atonement for him for his sin that he has committed in any of these matters, and it shall be forgiven him. The rest shall be the priest's as a grain offering.
Then the Lord spoke to Moses.
If a person commits a trespass and sins unintentionally in regard to the holy things of the Lord, then he shall bring to the Lord as his trespass offering a ram without blemish from the flocks, with your valuation in shekels of silver, according to the shekel of the sanctuary, as a trespass offering. And he shall make restitution for the harm that he has done in regard to the holy thing, and shall add 1/5 to it, and give it to the priest. So the priest shall make atonement for him with the ram of the trespass offering, and it shall be forgiven him. If a person sins and commits any of these things which are forbidden to be done by the commandments of the Lord, though he does not know it, yet he is guilty, and shall bear his iniquity. And he shall bring to the priest a ram without blemish from the flock, with your valuation, as a trespass offering. So the priest shall make atonement for him regarding his ignorance in which he erred, and did not know it, and it shall be forgiven him. It is a trespass offering. He has certainly trespassed against the Lord.
And now chapter number 6.
And the Lord spoke to Moses.
If a person sins and commits a trespass against the Lord by lying to his neighbor about what was delivered to him for safekeeping, or about a pledge, or about a robbery, or if he is extorted from his neighbor, or if he has found what was lost and lies concerning it, and swears falsely, in any one of these things that a man may do in which he sins, then it shall be, because he has sinned and is guilty, that he shall restore what he has stolen, or the thing which he has extorted, or what was delivered to him for safekeeping, or the lost thing which he found, or all that about which he has sworn falsely. He shall restore its full value, add 1/5 more to it, and give it to whomever it belongs on the day of his trespass offering. And he shall bring his trespass offering to the Lord, a ram without blemish from the flock, with your valuation, as a trespass offering to the priest. So the priest shall make atonement for him before the Lord, and he shall be forgiven for any one of these things that he may have done, in which he trespasses.
Then the Lord spoke to Moses.
Command Aaron and his sons, saying, This is the law of the burnt offering. The burnt offering shall be on the hearth upon the altar all night until morning, and the fire of the altar shall be kept burning on it. And the priest shall put on his linen garment, and his linen trousers he shall put on his body, and take up the ashes of the burnt offering, which the fire has consumed on the altar, and he shall put them beside the altar. Then he shall take off his garments, put on other garments, and carry the ashes outside the camp to a clean place. And the fire on the altar shall be kept burning on it. It shall not be put out. And the priest shall burn wood on it every morning, and lay the burnt offering in order on it. And he shall burn on it the fat of the peace offerings. A fire shall always be burning on the altar. It shall never go out. This is the law of the grain offering. The sons of Aaron shall offer it on the altar before the Lord. He shall take from it his handful of the fine flour of the grain offering, with its oil and all the frankincense which is on the grain offering, and shall burn it on the altar for a sweet aroma, as a memorial to the Lord. And the remainder of it Aaron and his sons shall eat. With unleavened bread it shall be eaten in a holy place. In the court of the tabernacle of meeting they shall eat it. It shall not be baked with leaven. I have given it as their portion of my offerings made by fire. It is most holy, like the sin offering and the trespass offering. All the males among the children of Aaron may eat it. It shall be a statute forever in your generations concerning the offerings made by fire to the Lord. Everyone who touches them must be holy.
And the Lord spoke to Moses.
This is the offering of Aaron and his sons, which they shall offer to the Lord, beginning on the day when he is anointed. 1/10 of an ephah of flour as a daily grain offering, half of it in the morning, and half of it at night. It shall be made in a pan with oil. When it is mixed, you shall bring it in. The baked pieces of the grain offering you shall offer for a sweet aroma to the Lord. The priest from among his sons, who is anointed in his place, shall offer it. It is a statute forever to the Lord. It shall be wholly burned. For every grain offering for the priest shall be wholly burned. It shall not be eaten.
Also the Lord spoke to Moses, saying,
Speak to Aaron and to his sons, saying, This is the law of the sin offering. In the place where the burnt offering is killed, the sin offering shall be killed before the Lord. It is most holy. The priest who offers it for sin shall eat it. In a holy place it shall be eaten, in the court of the tabernacle of meeting. Everyone who touches its flesh must be holy. And when its blood is sprinkled on any garment, you shall wash that on which it was sprinkled in a holy place. But the earthen vessel in which it is boiled shall be broken. And if it is boiled in a bronze pot, it shall be both scoured and rinsed in water. All the males among the priests may eat it. It is most holy. But no sin offering from which any of the blood is brought into the tabernacle of meeting to make atonement in the holy place shall be eaten. It shall be burned in the fire.
Wow. Leviticus chapters 5 and 6. We have read Psalms, then we went to Leviticus, and now we are going to Proverbs. We're going to go back to the book of Proverbs, and today is Proverbs. Let's see, did I go too far? No. Today is Proverbs 13. Proverbs 13.
A wise son heeds his father's instruction, but a scoffer does not listen to rebuke. A man shall eat well by the fruit of his mouth, but the soul of the unfaithful feeds on violence. He who guards his mouth preserves his life, but he who opens wide his lips shall have destruction. The soul of a lazy man desires and has nothing, but the soul of the diligent shall be made rich. A righteous man hates lying, but a wicked man is loathsome and comes to shame. Righteousness guards him whose way is blameless, but wickedness overthrows the sinner. There is one who makes himself rich, yet has nothing, and one who makes himself poor, yet has great riches. The ransom of a man's life is his riches, but the poor does not hear rebuke. The light of the righteous rejoices, but the lamp of the wicked will be put out. By pride comes nothing but strife, but with the well-advised is wisdom. Wealth gained by dishonesty will be diminished, but he who gathers by labor will increase. Hope deferred makes the heart sick, but when the desire comes, it is a tree of life. He who despises the word will be destroyed, but he who fears the commandment will be rewarded. The law of the wise is a fountain of life, to turn one away from the snares of death. Good understanding gains favor, but the way of the unfaithful is hard. Every prudent man acts with knowledge, but a fool lays open his folly. A wicked messenger falls into trouble, but a faithful ambassador brings health. Poverty and shame will come to him who disdains correction, but he who regards a rebuke will be honored. A desire accomplished is sweet to the soul, but it is an abomination to fools to depart from evil. He who walks with wise men will be wise, but the companion of fools will be destroyed. Evil pursues sinners, but to the righteous, good shall be repaid. A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children, but the wealth of a sinner is stored up for the righteous. Much food is in the fallow ground of the poor, and for lack of justice there is waste. He who spares his rod hates his son, but he who loves him disciplines him promptly. The righteous eats to the satisfying of his soul, but the stomach of the wicked shall be in want.
And that is the reading for today, Psalms 44, Leviticus 5, 6, and Proverbs 13. We've got one article here that is in Proverbs, and it comes from actually Proverbs 14, which is what we'll be reading tomorrow. Proverbs 14:23, let me read it. In all labor there is profit, but mere talk leads only to poverty. I guess you can talk all you want, but if you don't work, The virtue of hard work. In all labor there is profit. Among the many biblical virtues to be incorporated into our daily lives is that of hard work. From the beginning, God commanded, 6 days you shall labor. Exodus 29, Deuteronomy 5:13. Notice that God does not say can labor, but rather shall labor. God said to work hard for 6 days and then have a day of rest. For centuries, the work week was 6 days, but in the past century was reduced to 5, and across Europe and in many parts of America, the push is being made to reduce it to 4. The number of hours of work actually performed in any week has been steadily declining. There is a push for less work and more free time. But the Bible encourages just the opposite. Notice some of its many verses praising hard work. In all labor there is profit. Proverbs 14:23. He who tills his land will have plenty of bread. Proverbs 12:11. And the deeds of a man's hands will return to him. Proverbs 12:14. He must labor, performing with his own hands what is good, so that he will have something to share with one who has need. Ephesians 4:28. Make it your ambition to lead a quiet life and work with your hands. So shall you will not be in any need. 1 Thessalonians 4:11 and 12. He also who is slack in his work is brother to him who destroys. Proverbs 18:9. Recognizing the clarity of this Bible teaching, John Adams thus declared, and I quote, "Suppose a nation in some distant region should take the Bible for their only law book, and every member should regulate his conduct by the precepts there exhibited. Every member would be obligated in conscience to temperance and frugality and industry, or hard work." Adams recognized that if you lived and guided your life by the Bible, your conscience would oblige or require you to work hard. Hard work is a biblical teaching, but it must also be accompanied by morality. For hard work in an immoral cause will not bring the promised biblical reward. Founding Father John Jay understood this and affirmed that America had become prosperous because the spirit of hard work in the early colonists had properly been joined with that of virtue and morality. And I quote, "Under the auspices and direction of divine providence, our forefathers removed to the wilds and wilderness of America. by their industry or hard work. They made it a fruitful, and by their virtue, a happy country. Because hard work, with what the founders termed industry, was such an important biblical trait, they inculcated it in their children from their earliest years. As John Adams reminded his wife Abigail, and I quote, "The education of our children is never out of my mind. Train them to virtue. Habituate them to industry or hard work, activity, and spirit." Thomas Jefferson similarly told his daughter, "It is your future happiness which interests me, and nothing can contribute more to it, moral rectitude always excepted, than the contracting a habit of industry and activity. Of all the cankers or enemies of human happiness, none corrodes with so silent yet so baneful an influence as indolence or laziness. Body and mind both unemployed, or being existence, becomes a burden, and every object about us loathsome, even the dearest." Other founding fathers prominent in the field of education also stressed the importance of teaching this trait to youth. For example, Declaration signer Benjamin Rush said that students must, above all, learn to love life and endeavor to acquire as many of its conveniences as possible by industry and economy, or in other words, by hard work and savings. Noah Webster, the schoolmaster to America, similarly told students, labor is one of the best preservatives both of health and of moral habits. Notice that Webster, like so many other founders, associated labor with morals. Declaration signer John Witherspoon likewise declared, "Habits of industry or hard work prevent the introduction of many vices and are intimately connected with sobriety and good morals. Idleness is the mother or nurse of most every vice, and want or lust, which is its inseparable companion, argues men on the most abandoned and destructive courses. Industry, therefore, is a moral duty of greatest moment, absolutely necessary to national prosperity, and the sure way of obtaining the blessing of God." The founders believed that hard work and morals were inseparably connected and that one facilitated the other. They even attributed the generally increased immorality found in cities to the reduced opportunities for hard work and increased leisure time found there. In the country, a normal workday often extends from sunup to sundown, but not so in the city, and morals generally suffered as a result. For this reason, Thomas Jefferson told Benjamin Rush, "I view great cities as pestilential to the morals, the health, and the liberties of man." Dr. Rush, not only an educator but also America's most famous physician, replied, "I agree with you in your opinion of cities. Cowper the poet very happily expresses our ideas of them compared with the country. God made the country, man made the cities. I consider them in the same light that I do abscesses on the human body, as reservoirs of all the impurities of a community. James Madison agreed, pointing out, "'Tis not the country that peoples fill, either the bridewells or the jails or the bedlams or mental institutions. These mansions of wretchedness are tanted from the distresses and vice of overgrown cities." This is not to say that the influences of cities cannot be overcome, for the real problem is not the cities themselves, but rather the reduced opportunity for extended hard work. Therefore, the solution is finding more opportunities to engage in it rather than avoid it. Incidentally, President Ronald Reagan would take 1 month off every year during his presidency to return from Washington, D.C. to his ranch in California to swing an axe, wield a chainsaw, dig post holes for posts, and build fences. All hard physical labor. Booker T. Washington, head of the famous Tuskegee Institute, long ago affirmed to students, "No man can read the Bible and be lazy. Christianity increases a man's wants and therefore increases his capacity for labor." So, whether living in the city or the country, look for opportunities to engage in hard work and avoid laziness as the plague it is, remembering that the Bible clearly affirms in all labor there is profit. Amen. And so there it is, this article titled "The Virtue of Hard Work." We've read Proverbs 44, Leviticus 5 and 6. Psalms 44, Leviticus 5 and 6, and then Proverbs chapter 13. Then we've read this amazing article, "The Virtue of Hard Work." I pray that you will have some time to meditate on what we have read today and what you have heard, and have a wonderful rest of your day. And we will see you again tomorrow.